Good morning, everyone. This is Chala, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. I'm here really early with Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. Usually we're at 3:30, but I've got my tea this morning. It's not even 8:30. My team is waiting for me to do this and to meet with them at 8:30, but it's gonna have to be a late one today if you guys are watching. The reason is because I'm going to the eye doctor at that time, and it's going to be surgery, you guys. Apparently this tear has become chronic, and so what's going to happen is they're going to have to laser over it, just like laser surgery, and that's why I'm going to the doctor. The surgeon, I'm gonna meet the surgeon. He's gonna put some incapacitating eye drops into my eyes. I won't be able to drive. I won't be able to see anything. So I won't be able to do the Tuesday Tea Time. So I'm with you guys. And today we're talking about a really interesting topic that I've been doing a lot of thinking and talking about. It's called Why Your Outreach is Rejected. And when you look at outreach numbers, and when I say outreach, this is reaching out to prospects to get them to talk to you, to land a meeting with them, to get them to be interested in you. So in other words, as you know, everything up to the question, how much is it to work with you, I consider marketing. Everything after that question is considered sales. So today's topic is about the marketing, hot topic of why your outreach is rejected. And there are figures, around the 1% mark of outreach, whether it's online, offline, in person, whatever it is. Of course, in person is much higher, but in the pandemic, the in-person is really impossible to do. So often our outreach as our team is reaching out on LinkedIn, reaching out on email, reaching out on social media of any kind. Okay, so it's usually 1%, but here are the reasons why it's happening, that it's 1%, how you can improve it and increase it. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a sip. Okay, so one is the target is not there, especially if you're using online means and they're being filtered out, or the person is not using that social media as regularly as you are. They are just not there. So what do you do about that is you become multiple touch points, which is why I always want my clients, and which is why I also want to have always the target being an industry or an interest group, so that we can hit them at multiple points. And I'll give you an example. My target interest group is women business enterprises. They are certified WBEs through a certifying body called the WeBank. And not only are we trying to reach them on the social media on LinkedIn, but I'm also doing trainings for them. I'm also in their networks. I'm also, in their write-ups. I'm also networked with my clients who are already WBEs and who refer me to other WBEs. I have infiltrated that one. Either you can pick an industry, or in my case, it's an interest group, or you can pick an interest group that self-gathers often. So for example, today, Friday? Yesterday I did a pre-training, and on Friday I'll be doing a 2-hour training for them. So that's what happens if you can't reach them on social media, you're gonna reach them some way, because you're hitting them on multiple levels of the same group. So the first why your outreach is being rejected is that they're not there. The second is that the message is not personal. And this is something that my team taught me, is that they do a really great job of researching down to what that person that they're targeting, that prospect, has done, said, shared, liked, their behavior, their background, their philosophies, whatever it is. And they taught me about something called even listen notes. That's where you can find anyone who has been on a podcast, and you can listen to what they had to say. And if you approach someone from the perspective that you've listened to them and that you really value what they had to say, and say something with regards to their messaging, then you're gold. And that seems to really strike a conversation. And that my team, Marianne, taught me that. Hi, Marianne. The third reason why your outreach is not working is it may not be relevant. And this is the reason why I do the whole super niching. If it's not relevant to them, meaning it doesn't talk about them and their specific problem that they are constantly bleeding out money for, if you are not messaging to that issue, then they're not going to be able to want to move into a further discussion with you, because nobody has the time to make new friends, right? So that's why if you're not relevant, if you're not super niched, and if your message isn't super niched, it's not going to land with them. Number 4 is why your outreach is rejected is it's perceived as generic or not useful. So this is one of the things, one of the teams that I used to work with, we used to just cut and paste, how are you? And, you know, with some people it worked, but with the higher level CEOs that we're trying to reach out to, it wasn't working. So that's why we decided to go the personalized route, which started to work much better for us. And our numbers declined in terms of outreach, but our results improved. That is not a COVID cough. It was just dry throat. Now when I have to drop off my little guy, this is new, and a lot of parents have had to do this, but we have to do like a daily screener. So it's just, you know, on your app, on your phone. So it just reminds you of every time you cough, every time you have a runny nose, every time you have a fever, any of those symptoms, you're like, oh, do I have a fever? Oh my God, do I have a cough? It's really funny, isn't it? Okay, so number 5 of why your outreach is being rejected is the message is always about you, your services and your products. And for any outreach, for as long as I could remember, I have always told my clients, make it about them, make it about them. And even better is when you make it about their pain, right? Stop talking about yourself. I have watched for 18 years, I said no to suppliers coming in and talking about themselves, their regions, their vision, their mission, their employees, their projects that had nothing to do with me. And so I know I sit firmly in this belief that you have to stop talking about yourself in the outreach. You have to start talking about them and their pain and their problems and how you have the solution to their problems. Okay, so the last one is, this one's optional, but it always works. And the reason why your outreach is not accepted or is rejected is maybe because it's not emotional. So all types of marketing research shows that when emotion is involved, there is a much quicker response rate. And in fact, remember I told you the stories of how there are serotonin measurement bands like Fitbits that they place on test subjects, and they show them you know, a piece of marketing that they either respond to through elevated oxytocin levels or you know, no response, and they're much more likely to buy where they have a response of elevated oxytocin or serotonin levels. So that's why it's so important to interject emotion. And how do you interject emotion into your outreach? Humor is a great one. And if you don't even know how to use humor, that's fine. If you're going to send an email, just Google, you know, humorous subject titles that get opens. And I do this all the time. I Google subject titles that get opens. There are even websites that will tell you what your opening rate will be, or they will rate your subject title. It's phenomenal. So this is like a science onto itself. And if you just focus on it, and if you know enough to write the right emotional, and it could be funny, it could be thought-provoking, it could be sad. It doesn't even have to be anything huge. For example, when I sent this week's newsletter, I got such a huge response, and it was about please no more snow name. So it was like, please no more snow John. And you know, it was personalized. And that's the other thing. Remember I told you the personalized always gets more attention. And you know, all sorts of marketing structures and tools allow you to do that to as much of an extent as you want. So that, you know, no more snow please was just, you know, a real just, authentic place where I was coming from, where I really, like, we had like snow dumping yesterday, we had snow dumping before, we have snowflakes in the air today, God knows what else we're gonna have during the week, but like enough, right? And just so that people responded to, and there was a picture of my little guy, my 11-year-old, in a snow fort, and a lot of people responded to that. So emotion, emotion, emotion. I'm always telling my clients to include stories of emotion, and if they don't want to, play that story game, then they could just talk about their life, and they could just share a little bit of their life. One of my clients now puts pictures of him and his husband on his newsletters, which he never used to embrace that side. He never used to, even though, he was out and open about it, he never used to go to the personal side. So again, remember emotion, and especially in outreach, if you could be either funny or genuine, or introduce some form of humanity so that they know it's not a bot on the other end, even better. So those are the 6 ways that not to get rejected, and the 6 reasons why I think people are rejected when they're reaching out. Because remember, outreach is your first line of action, because after that, then you get to set the meeting, and then you get to run the meeting, and then you get to close the meeting. But if you can't even get the meeting, then your first line of rejection is where you stay, and it's an expensive one, because remember, 1% is accepted and 99% is rejected. That's really high. So that's my Tuesday tea time today, you guys. It was a short one. It was an early one, but I hope you catch it, and I will see you at hopefully, depending on when my eye surgery is, I'll see you at the regular time at 3:30 next week. All the best, everyone.